everyone, you're welcome back again to Craft Fashion Media. How are you all doing, all my fans, all my supporters out there? How are you all doing? Thank you guys for all your support. So today I'm going to be taking us on how to draft a female shirt. So if you're new on my channel, I welcome you and I would love you to see my other videos. And if you like my content, don't hesitate to click on that subscribe button to support this channel. And without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, I have my pattern paper placed on the table already. So we are going to be making use of the basic bodies that we have on this channel. So I have both the front and the back pattern paper placed together, so as you can see on the table. So I'm going to draw out the shoulder seam line. So for the length of the shirt, I'm going to be making use of 23.5 inch towards my hip length. And I'm going to have an extension of 3 inches on the back panel. As you can see, I folded the front panel at the hip level. So the next thing to do right now is I'm going to cut off that shoulder seam line. I'm cutting both the front and back panel together. Watch carefully. I am going to push down the front panel down to that 3 inches, extra 3 inches I marked on the back panel. Now I am going to fold the shoulder seam line of the back panel to meet the front one. This method makes it a lot easier when drafting your shirt pattern. The next step is to trace the basic bodies, placing it at that level and extending my side seam by at least 2.5 inch, making sure it's a little bit more than my hip circumference, and I will take the line down. So on the neck area, I'm going to remove 0.5 inch from the width of the neck and reconnect it. As you can see, the bust dart is closed. We are going to be making use of the waist dart. Now that we have inserted the dart line, I am going to just take 1/4 inch on both sides. The original dart was 1 inch on both sides, so I'm going to be taking just 1/4 inch on each side because it's a shirt and I wouldn't want it to be so tight. It depends on your preference on whatever you want to achieve. So I'm going to mark that out and I will reconnect it towards the place it's supposed to be. On my waistline, I'm going to come in by 0.5 inch just to give it a little bit of shape and make a mark, and I will reconnect it back to the original line of the side seam, and I will do the same thing towards the down part as well, connecting it back to the hip length. Now to the neck region, I am going to reconnect from the front neckline to the back panel. As you can see, I already removed the front neckline, so I'm going to connect it to the back panel to form the back panel neckline as well. So I'm just using the original line at the moment, so I'm going to place my tape and mark 1/2 inch, as you can see. So that's 1/2 inch is a guide for me to redraw the back neckline, so I'm not going to exceed that line in order to achieve my back neckline, as you can see. Now, in order to achieve the circumference of the back neckline, I'm going to mark 1 inch towards the center back and connect it back towards the shoulder seam line. And that is our back neckline. As you can see, I'm going to unfold the extension I have at the front panel. So the reason why I had it like this is because we are going to have like a tail towards the front. This is my hip level, as you can see. So from that level, I'm going to mark 3 inches below that, and towards the side I'm going to come in by 1 inch, and I'm going to make my connections, as you can see. Now that the front panel is ready, I'm going to insert the back armhole. And I'm going to cut off the panel, both front and back at the same time. Getting towards the armhole area, I'm going to cut off the back armhole first of all. After that, I am going to remove the excess that we have on the front panel. Now our front and back panels are ready. So the next step is to work on the placket. So as you can see, I have an extension of some inches towards the front of the front pattern. So from that center front line, I am going to insert 1/4 inch and draw the line straight down. Next, I am going to insert 1¼ inch and draw the line straight down. I need to come back and draw that center line out so it doesn't get confusing as we proceed. So we have 1/4 inch and 1¼ inch. So I'm going to insert another 1/4 inch. And I will draw the line straight down as well. Lastly, I'm going to have another 1¼ inch, which is equal to what I have before. So now I am going to fold the second line. As you can see, it is just the first line because the other line is the center front line. So I'm going to fold that line and push it forward towards the pattern without exceeding the center front line. Hope you can see what I'm trying to do. So the folding should not exceed the center front line when you pleat it, just like pleating it forward. So look at the underneath. That folding should not exceed that center front line underneath. So coming back to the other line, I am going to catch the second line of the second 1/4 inch and fold it and pleat whatever that is remaining towards the back. And when I pleat it towards the back, the first 1/4 inch will catch whatever that is remaining on the other side. So when I run a stitch on it, it will catch it from behind. So watch again how I'm pleating the pattern. It is actually easy when you practice it. So as you can see, they are all sorted out. So where you have the lines, those are the areas you are going to run your stitch. Once you run your stitch on top of them correctly, it will catch whatever that is underneath. And this is the panel that you are going to have your buttonholes on. So these two lines you are seeing at the front is where you're going to run your stitch, while your buttonholes will be at the center. Then now I can reconnect my neckline. As you can see, that's the reason why you should have excess. If not, you are going to run out of fabric at the end of the day. So now you can see that I am removing the excesses, which is very perfect. So the front and the back panels are ready. So we are going to draft the other side of the front panel because there is a little bit of difference towards the placket, which I'm going to show you. Just keep on watching. So for the back panel, I'm going to insert the dart measurement that I used at the front, just 1/4 inch on both sides, and I will connect it. Now I am going to take the front panel and place it on another paper to draft the other side of the front panel. So I'm going to trace everything out, and coming to the placket area, I'm going to trace that center where I will have my buttonhole on the other panel. So I'm going to have times 2 of that 1¼ inch, and I will add extra 1/4 inch just for the folding. So as you can see the difference, it's not up to the measurements that we used on the other panel. So I'm going to trace that center on the paper, times 2 of that, and add another 1/4 inch just for the folding, because when I fold it I will have to use the 1/4 inch for my seam allowance. And this is where you will have your button fixed on. So I hope you can see what we have at that on that side of the panel. So I have 1/4 inch plus 1¼ inch times 2. So when I turn it over, I will use the 1/4 inch to run my stitch. I hope you can see the difference between the two. So I'm going to remove the excesses. And the panel is ready, both the front and the back panel. So now we are going to draft the yoke for the back panel. So I'm going to take the back panel and take another sheet of paper and place it underneath. So remember, it is important for you to remember to place your back panel on fold. Both the yoke and the back panel itself should be placed on fold. So I'm going to measure from that high point shoulder down at least 5 inches or 4½ inch. It depends on your preference. So I'm going to use 4½ inch from that high point shoulder, and I will draw a horizontal line. So this line is just like a guide for me to trace the extent of the yoke on that little sheet of paper. So you can add any design of your choice. As you can see, I slanted it a little bit. So if you don't want to have it slanted, you can keep yours straight. So you play along with it, whatever you like or whatever you desire to achieve. You can play with it and achieve that. So make sure you place everything at the back panel on fold. Now let's move over to the very important aspect of the shirt, which is the collar. So I'm going to, first of all, I need to draw a vertical line representing the center back. But because our fabric is on fold, that folded part has already covered that side. So I'm going to take the second step by drawing a horizontal line equal to the next circumference. So before doing this, make sure you have already joined your shoulder seam and take the accurate measurement before inserting this measurement. The next step is to draw another vertical line upward, This line will serve as a guide as we create our band as well as the collar fall. It will actually help in the obturation of the blade end. On that same line, I will square up a line by coming in by 1 inch. This line will be equal to our placket at the center front edge. On the bottom horizontal line, I'm going to find the midpoint of the collar band. This is actually the quarter measurement of our neck circumference because our fabric is on fold, and I will make a mark. On that same bottom line before the placket space, I'm going to come up by 1/2 inch and make a mark. This is to enable us insert the height of our band. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to extend the band towards the placket region. Now I am going to insert the height of my band. As you can see, I am going to take it all through the line, above the line. I'm making use of 1 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to connect the dashed lines together. I'm using 1 1/4 inch for it not to be so tiny. At least when I am joining it on my machine, I'll have something to hold on to. So now I am going to extend it towards the placket region to close the end, as you can see. And our band is sorted out. Now I'm going to draw another horizontal line above the band to create a demarcation between the collar fall and the band. Towards the folded part, I'm going to mark 1 inch above that line that I just drew. And I am going to connect it towards the beginning of my placket. I'm making use of my pencil initially because I would like to make some corrections so the marker doesn't really ruin my work. Now I am going to insert the actual height of the collar fall. I'll be making use of 2 1/2 inch. And I will mark it as well on the opposite side and draw a line across. On that same line towards my placket region, I am going to come down by 1/4 inch. And I will slightly connect it towards the folded side. As you can see, I'm trying to find the midpoint just like I did towards the bottom, and I'm going to connect it towards the midpoint. And on the folded part, I'm going to slightly curve it as well. So towards the placket region, I'm going to extend the collar blade a little bit, as you can see, at least by ½ an inch, so it will have a good shape. And I'm going to smoothen out that angle. In order to avoid sharp edges. And I will connect it down towards the band, as you can see. And our collar fall and the bands are ready, as you can see. So now I am going to cut through it and place them on another plain sheet of paper in order to add my seam allowance. During your final cutting, ensure you have your fabric placed on fold, so that at the end of the day you'll have 2 pieces of each panel of the collar fall as well as the band. As you can see, the 2 panels of the collar and the bands are ready. Then the front and the back panels are ready as well. So if you give it a try, let me have a feedback. Send me a message and let me know the outcome. So if you like my content and they are helpful to you, you can as well support the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. Watch the videos, share with your friends and family. And that will be all for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.